But we are so averse of change. Why are human beings so averse of change?
Because they're afraid of change. Whenever change. But the fact is, we should understand that change is inevitable. This, you know what, Prakriti? The definition of the word Prakriti in the ancient Sankhya Sutras. Sankhya is the philosophy worked out by the great sage Kapila. It's very ancient, so ancient that in the Gita Krishna says, among the sages I am Kapila. But there is this funny controversy going on if Kapila was an Indian or a foreigner, because Kapila means blonde.
Okay.
Kapila, one over there who is like Pila.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in the Sankhya Sutras, this whole world, the word used is Prakriti. Prakriti is called Prakriti because it is divisive in nature. Prakaroti iti Prakriti. This is how it begins, the Sankhya Sutra. That which divides and multiplies is Prakriti. So there is always this division going on because we are all part of Prakriti. All human beings, every living being, non-living, everything is part of Prakriti. Now, along with Prakriti, there is an element in us called the Purusha.
What is that?
That is the spirit, the consciousness. So when you understand that this is there in us and tune into this, no amount of division is going to have a strong effect on us. The discovering of this is yoga. In the last stage of yogic practice called Kaivalya, you realize that there is one Purusha who is all pervading. It is the spirit, the consciousness. It is the essence of all corporate everything. This whole world is a corporate, and this consciousness is the chairman, is the chairperson, let's say. I don't want to use the gender. Every human being has this. This is the wonderful news. It's not as if only some people have it.
The privilege, you mean?
Yeah, it's not a privileged thing. It's everybody has it. So, keep this in mind and carry on in this world. I'm sure you will somehow manage to swim through the commotions that happen and come out successful in the end. This is the teaching of the Gita.
When I spoke about that I would be meeting you, interviewing you, one kind of a thought resonated with a lot of people who I connected, and they were very excited to know your views on this. And I am trying to summarize it because in bits and pieces the thought remains the same. The thought is, as you rightly said, focus on now. This is good. This is good. So a memory would be a vritti. Forget about the memories. Forget about the future. Future will bring you fear. So focus on now. The people who are in a troubled state now, for them the escape is look for a good future.
Right.
Build hope.
Agreed. But don't waste all your energies on projecting this. But if you look at the reasons why you are in this state, then only you will be able to solve this problem and move forward. If all the mind, say 80% of the mind goes to what we should do in future, but if you do in future, if you don't avoid the pitfalls that you're already in, you'll end up in the same way afterwards, right? So let's see, failure and sorrow are not things to be swept under the rug or escape from. They have to be faced. If you face it, you can solve it. Right? Let me put it this way. What happens is you're depressed, you're very sorry, sorrow has come, and every human being has some sorrow sometime or the other.
Right.
This whole world is like that. Okay. The first chapter of the Gita is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the sorrow of Arjuna. It's for everybody. Now, what we do generally, we try to listen to music or we do some, which is okay, I'm not saying no, but I'm looking at the mechanism, why we are avoiding it. We're trying to distract the mind, or we end up getting immersed in the spirit which comes in bottles. That's also spirit, right? So, you're not facing it. If you don't face it, how will you be able to solve it? Now that requires grit, a little bit of courage. You should know where you went wrong. It may be my own doing, or it may be something else, but we have to figure out. For that, don't let anything cloud it. stay and make a good study of it. It's painful, of course. If you make a good study of it, you will know how to get out of it. Then you project your future and move forward.
And when you say you project your future,
It should not have the elements which, if you have studied properly staying where you are, you know what to avoid.
the dilemma that comes is, if I can project my future and I can build my future, then I am right now facing the consequences of my past karmas.
Yes, so therefore, if you stay with where you are now and see why it has happened, you will be able to handle it in future. This is what I am trying to say. Otherwise, I am in such a hurry to go into the future that I don't want to study where I am. I have to study myself first. Why am I like this? What is the reason for my failure? If I think it's a failure, somebody might say it's not a failure, it's a success.
Yeah.
But it depends on how you look at it. Now, if I agree that it's a failure, I have to stay there before projecting into the future and see where have I gone wrong. All great people, even in the business world and in the worldly things, those who have reached the top are mostly people who have had that vision, who have used failures as stepping stones and not given up.